And we are live on another edition of All In on High School Sports NJIC Scoreboard. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti,
And we're joined by our two.
Voices of St.
Yep.
Wmary's. What's up, boys? Eli and
How are
Jack.
you doing,
How you
guys?
guys doing tonight?
Appreciate being on.
Thanks
Jen,
so
while
much
I'm
for
just
joining
tagging,
us,
if you want to
guys.
talk about the shows a little.
Sure. Just a reminder, we are all in on high school sports. We broadcast our weekly show on Tuesday evenings. We go for a 2-hour chunk of time. We start in the 8 o'clock hour with all things North Jersey football, and the second hour, 9 to 10, is devoted to just the NJIC conference. Tonight we will be recapping the NJIC action that was played Friday night. Sprinkling a couple of the other scores that have come in from around North Jersey as well. And that's what we have here. Oh, who do we have checking in already?
There's Mr. Kirkpatrick. Good evening, Jen and Kurt. What better way to start the weekend off? Looking forward to the scores. Guys, before we get to the scores, we have Jack and Eli on. Can I just tell them a story real quick? A minute.
Sure.
Guys, I got to tell you a funny story.
This is unscripted.
This is unscripted.
Unscripted, of course.
No, I told Jen this in the past, but you guys were at Weehawken tonight, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so you're in Weehawken. So when do you guys still see Coach Sheridan?
In school, yeah.
Okay, if you see him and you have to get him in a good mood and you have to ask him about this because he was not in a good mood for this. So we're playing, right? I'm coaching St. Mary's. We're playing at Weehawken. For some reason, I want to say there was like a bomb scare on Route 3 that night. So it literally took us like an hour and 20 minutes to get from St. Mary's to Weehawken. So not a problem. We get there. It's fine. Next thing you know, we get on the field. I have two kids come up to me and they say, Coach Valenti, we got a problem. I said, what's up? They said, we don't have the video camera to film the game tonight, like for our film. I said, well, that's going to be a problem. Coach Sheridan's not going to be happy. So one coach took them back to go get that. Later on, 5 minutes later, we're about to start warming up. And one of the other freshman coaches comes up to me and says, you got to tell Coach Sheridan something. And now I'm like, what's going on now? They said, we left the footballs back home. I said, I got to tell Coach Sheridan that you left the footballs home. They're like, yeah, but he'll kill us. I'm like, I'm going to tell Coach Sheridan. What are we going to do? Like, we don't have balls. What are we going to, right? So, like, I say to Coach Sheridan, what's going on? So he's like, okay. So I don't remember the first thing he was like, I don't know where you're going to, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't the camera. It wasn't the camera. You know what it was? It was the headsets. Because he's like, well, I don't know where you're going to call the place from. You're going to have to come on the field. And I'm like, I said to someone better go get headsets. He's going to go nuts. 5 minutes later, I got another group saying we left the footballs home. We have no practice balls, no game balls. Coach Sheridan had to ask their coach. Luckily, we blew them out that night because it would have been a disaster, absolute disaster. But they come up to me, I got to tell them.
Wow.
So when you got to say, when you guys see him this week, say, hey, I heard there was a game when you guys were in Weehawken and there was no headphones and no footballs. How do you think that went that night?
My goodness.
All right, well, I'll be asking
Coach Sheridan was so calm pre-game. He was so calm. Like, I'm joking about that, but we love Coach Sheridan.
Absolutely.
Right.
What a great story.
Murphy. And there's Kenny saying, there they are, the goats of broadcasting at St. Mary's Sports. And Eddie's saying, Jen's letting up past Kurt.
Bedtime because you're in bed.
Wow.
I was almost falling asleep while Jen was doing the prep.
Yeah, right.
Well, of course.
Par for the course, right, guys? I was this. I was having some technical difficulties in my other computer, and he was working on it. So
we're starting to figure out the nightly routine now.
No secrets here.
No.
Secrets.
So we got a full slate of NJIC. We're gonna get to the other games too, and Kenny's already saying Ulta Pan, Kurt, wink, wink. So we will get to that. But
Well, we got
Jack
Dan
and Eli
here, so let's get right into the St. Mary's score tonight, guys. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. All right, and St. Mary's with a convincing road victory, 43-6. Guys, we were listening to your broadcast while we were out to dinner. Again, as we were telling you, and I said to you before.
What do you mean listening? We were watching too. Oh yeah,
Of course, you got to watch too. Yeah.
My mistake, of course. And I said to you guys, did I hear correctly? Like after the first quarter, it was still 0-0, but they erupted right in the second quarter.
That's correct. Yeah.
It's like a volcano exploded above the Lincoln Tunnel. That's pretty much what happened. It was scoreless 0-0 in the first quarter and 30-0 at the entering the halftime.
Wow.
And it was absolutely insane. The first 2 minutes of the second quarter, 15 points were put up on the board. And that was also courtesy of a 2-point conversion completed by BJ Cunningham. It was an absolutely insane turn of events. We had interceptions twice from Nick Fortunato, the freshman, and also Jonathan Huertas. You could have not asked for a better night for the Gills. And that first half was literally insane. And that's how you got the score that we are. And we're so glad that they got the points at the end, at the final seconds of the game with missing the field goal. But they did get the 6 points.
Yeah,
they went for 2 points.
I'm glad Eli mentioned the turnovers because in this game, in the first half, the Gales had 30 points in the second quarter. 23 of those 30 points came off of turnovers. They had 2 interceptions and a forced fumble in the second quarter alone. And Eli, let me just tell you real quick that the second interception was by Nasir Owens, not Jonathan Huertas. I just want to
There you go.
Yeah.
Clarify that.
And guys, there's Kenny saying, "Great job, guys. I was listening at work, not watching Kurt." LOL. Because we always say that's very good. Kenny at work, watch your patience, and you can listen. Just job first. So very good,
Yeah.
Kenny. You know, guys, that it was reminiscent of their. I know it happened in the second quarter, but their opening at Woodridge, where in what was it, like just under 3 minutes of time,
boom,
again,
like an avalanche.
And it just, even though it was 0-0 after that first quarter, it's like you can't let up. They can just turn it on and convert points so quickly because they get it done. Again, we talked about this offensively, defensively, and special teams. Like, so that's impressive.
They know how to light the rocket and they know when to let it go.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this, Eli. I'll start with you first.
Okay.
Was it more of the running game, passing game, or a combination of both tonight?
We saw a combo of both, but I think we saw a lot more from the running game. We saw a lot more running passes and rushing from Nasir Owens, who led the night. He had 2 touchdowns, many carries. He was really the star of the show, and it was all because of the running game, which we thought was very important on the night.
Jack, what do you think else offensively? Passing game. How did Higgins look, and anybody stand out?
Well, actually, it was actually a bit of a sloppy night for the passing game, despite the score you see on the screen. A lot of drops tonight, quite a few actually, at least 3 that I counted. Couple of missed throws on both sides. The Gales certainly need to clean that up. But honestly, I thought Brad was fine. I thought he was honestly fine tonight. I thought he did a decent job just controlling the offense. This game never really felt, that close, to be quite honest. But yeah, the passing offense, they got to clean that up a little bit. But when you've got Nasir Owens running all over this Weehawken defense, you could throw 0 times a game. They still would have won by probably close to the same margin that they won tonight.
And it's Nasir Owens with the carries.
And credit to that offensive line, too. They did a tremendous job tonight.
Hey, that's what it's about. We say it every week. It's all about the O-line. Kenny saying the interception towards the end of the half was the dagger for Weehawken. Yeah. Let's talk about defense, Jack. Talking about the defense, what stood out? Anybody stand out for you defensively?
It's really all 11 guys. They really all stood out, especially the front 4. The front 4 is done. The last few games, they've done a tremendous job. You've got, they substitute guys, but, these guys, they get after them, tackle for loss. We had a forced fumble. Everyone's contributing on defense. Our secondary has been absolutely, it's like the no-fly zone secondary. Of course, you're a Broncos fan, Kurt.
Yeah, that's right, baby. That's
the
right.
No-fly zone secondary with Chris Harris, Keeb Talib, all Darian Stewart, all those guys. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's
Roby.
like the Gales secondary right now. Yep. Everybody. That's
and
what
TJ Ward.
Yeah. He was the one who recovered the fumble in the Super Bowl. I remember that. Yeah. Yep. That's what the Gales secondary looks like right now. But this defense they're cooking. They really are. I mean, they've only allowed 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. Unbelievable job that they've done.
and they're still trying to reach the moon. That's the goal, and they're already out halfway there. The entire defense, as you mentioned, Jack, was phenomenal. If there was one person I had to spot out tonight, Nick Fortunato. He's a freshman who had the first interception catch of the day for the Gills on the defense of side. So that is, I have to give him 100% credit. Did not result in a touchdown, but he got the interception and gave the Gills the ball back and brought us some points. So really, you got to give credit to him. A lot of people didn't know who he was, but now they know because of that big play that he had. And it was a wild one right here in Weehawken.
Well, that's a great point because we have been talking about this like mostly senior laden team,
Right.
but some underclassmen as well. But for some of these other guys to now be stepping up and kind of, it's going to be important for them for the future. So
Absolutely.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
And guys, real quick before you go, I mean, you just mentioned that you said halfway, right? I mean, Pagoda and Wallington, they get those 2 wins, Eli, and
Absolutely.
and you know what? And they're in. And then now you're in that 4-game tournament. And we'll talk about because we had another big one with Becton and Kreskill. But you're right there, Eli, and there's all your goals. And just so I don't know if you guys know, opening week, Coach Johnson scheduled a Pequannock team. That Pequannock team tonight went into Ramsey, an undefeated Ramsey, and beat that team 28-7.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So Pequannock is for real. And then
They are dangerous.
And that St. Mary's loss, there's nothing to be ashamed on that loss.
Oh, and I picked Pequannock. I got it right.
You did. You did. We went Ramsey.
I did pick Pequannock. So,
but just throwing that out there. So, it shows again, after that game, everything's in front of them. So, real quick, final thoughts, Eli, from you.
Okay, I want to go to the picks real quick. I picked the Gales to win 21-7. Coach Johnson went up to me the other day saying, "Why only 21? There should have been a lot more than 21 points," is what he told me. And I said, "Well, I don't know. I thought you kept it close." But Coach Johnson, if you're watching this, I want you to know at least I was close on the 7. That's all I got to say. I was close on the 7.
You were.
I mean, and listen, you guys won, and I picked you to win, and that's all that matters. And you're gonna have a big win next week, so I gotta get my math ready to start calculating for next week's game versus Pagoda. But just want to throw that out there.
Any final words, Eli, about tonight's game?
Other final thoughts. They all played phenomenal tonight. I think defense was really the star of the show. And next game coming up versus Pagoda will be even better. And they'll be back at it stronger than ever before.
Jack, final thoughts on tonight's game?
Just gotta clean up a few small things, obviously. Obviously these big wins are great, but nobody's perfect. I'm sure the Gales still think they could get better in certain ways. But the goal, they just gotta keep going 1-0 every single week, take it week by week, and they'll achieve their goals. Coach Johnson said last year that their goal this year was to win the NJIC, and well, it certainly looks like they're going to have a very good shot of doing that because they are looking about as good as anybody here in the NJIC right now. But just keep, take step by step. Hopefully everybody stays healthy. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And week by week process, and we'll be back at it next Saturday against Pagoda.
Awesome.
The
Thanks
voices
so
of
much,
St.
guys.
Mary's,
Yep,
boys.
So informative as always. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
No problem. Thank you.
Yes,
And we can't wait to
absolutely.
be back on Tuesday for the recap show. And
Awesome.
much more.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see
Sounds
you.
good. I'm
Take
sure
care,
we'll
guys.
talk-
Thank
And
you.
then real quick, Kenny's saying, great job, guys. See you Tuesday. Jack, we go undefeated in picks next week. Let's go.
Yes.
All
That's
right.
Penny. We're gonna go undefeated.
It seems like there's a teamwork connection I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Poor Jack though just got sucked into that. He doesn't get to make the picks.
Yeah,
I
That's
did.
right.
Well, I did pick Pequannock though. I
He
did
one.
aspect that game.
You did.
I got it right.
Going on one. Yeah.
You got to give the credit. Of course.
All right, guys. Thanks again.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a
Guys,
good night.
I
Thank you
appreciate it
so
as
much.
always. Thank you so much.
All right, so there they are, Jack and Eli voice. They do a great job again streaming. It was great, Jen. We're like, we're going out to dinner.
Yep.
Oh, we're gonna miss the game. No, we're not.
Yep.
We're not missing that game. We're right there. We're watched it. They do a great job. And hey,
They do.
big win for St. Mary's. A lot more action tonight. And let's get right to the big game. Let's get to the big one.
Which
tonight.
one did you want?
The Becton Emerson.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Becton Kreskill
Well, you know what?
/ Emerson. I'm
Do
gonna
you
call
mind
it both.
if we go through?
Oh, yeah,
the
that's fine. That's
order
fine.
of
Yeah,
the-
yeah,
it
that's
might
fine.
be next. Oh, look, you
Look
got your
at
wish. There
this.
it is. There
Look
it
at
is.
this.
Yeah. Another convincing win for Becton here, which you talk about being in the driver's seat in the Colonial Division. I mean, that's an impressive win. That's an impressive.
Listen,
win
it's
tonight on the
impressive for a
road.
couple reasons. On the road, and again,
Mhm.
this is probably one of the biggest games Cresco has had. Again, Cresco's always been a great state championship, contender down for the past couple years, but this is probably one of their biggest wins, biggest games in the last couple years. They have it in their building. It doesn't phase back then. They go in there, 41-0, impressive offensively, impressive defensively. Just want to go over a couple of things we got from that game. Again, the NJIC, Tim Tebow, look alike, Tim Tebow, play alike, Mr. Jonathan Powsey tonight. 3 touchdowns rushing, 2 passing touchdowns, probably between 250 passing, between 80 and 100, rushing. I mean, complete stud, right? I mean, just we know it. He showed up today. Now, this is again another game, just like that Lyndhurst big game. And he showed up in every game, but just like that big Lyndhurst game, when the lights are bright, he's going to come to play. But he also had help tonight. Jen, let me just get you a couple notes I had. Lucas Frank, big night, over 100 yards receiving. Evan Cologne, 70-yard receiving touchdown. And Nico Ragazzino with a nice rushing performance. Listen, talk about St. Mary's is in the driver's seat. Beckton's in the driver's seat, right? They got their, I don't want to say tougher games because I'm not going to say who's tough, who's not, but they did, right? They got those games out. Handle your business, both of them. You're both going to be in the NJIC playoffs.
Exactly. Right. I mean, like Jack was saying earlier, 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time here, but they have been doing so. So in other NJIC matchups, we have Woodridge bouncing back after last week's loss to St. Mary's with a 27-0 shutout victory on the road against Wallington.
And we said, this is a couple of teams we're going to see what they're made of, and this is Woodridge again. Listen,
it speaks volumes.
It does, because you know what? That's not easy coming back from being in a big game. Hey, game of the week, everyone's there in your building. And listen, St. Mary's beat you up pretty bad. How are you going to respond? That game's behind them now.
Yeah.
And listen, now they got to work on getting into the, the NJSIAA playoff picture. And this is a nice start for Coach Catrona and that team.
All right, we've got another shutout victory. This one for Park Ridge hosting Pagoda at home. 34-0 win for them.
Just like I remember I said this a couple of weeks ago. Another team, tough loss against St. Mary's on the road, young team. But this team, all they know what to do is win and come back. And again, you're just going to see this team start charting wins after wins after wins.
It's interesting when you see teams face early season adversity, right? And like you said, and how they react to it. So, Park Ridge similarly, bouncing back as well. But what I find interesting is some of the disparity in the scores, right? Like, and you know what? Things kind of will play out, right? Like early in the season, sometimes it's hard to tell, and teams get better and stuff. But it's interesting when one team wins convincingly and then another team in the conference beats a different opponent convincingly, so it's just it's kind of interesting to see how things will play out when everybody finally matches up here. But Park Ridge with the win there as well. New Milford with a big win, 42-7 hosting Hawthorne.
Just like Jack and Eli mentioned before about St. Mary's going on a run at one point. This game was 7-7. And then New Milford, comes back with 35 straight points. And again, New Milford, another week, another win.
Yeah.
And you know what? Hey, they're going to see Butler, right? They're going to see Butler, and that's going to decide what that is for that division. But, again, New Milford hasn't been great the past couple of years. But listen, when you have Jersey Ryan, I forgot the receiver, I mentioned his name before, but another big game from him. Jen, this team, again, they're going to give Butler, it's going to be, it's going to be a different, like, clash of styles, like Butler could do everything, but can this New Milford team, getting a little more physical, but hey, they got the quarterback, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
gonna be
Well,
interesting.
Speaking of quarterbacks, our next score is Butler winning 48-14 with quarterback David Smith having a performance of 9 for 10 on his passes for 186 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. Those 3 passing touchdowns, I believe, were all to PJ Coffee. So and then Butler remains undefeated in the division, in their division as well.
Yeah, again, this is a team, they could do both, right? They can run it, they can throw it, which is nice. You got the quarterback. What's his name? Bobby Petty last year. Batapede. I forgot how to say it. I always think I think it's Batapede. But anyway, that was their question mark going in. But Mr. Smith's having a nice little run this year. And every week he's gonna get more comfortable. Every week he's gonna get better. And again, this team, they're probably as good as they are right now. 2-3 weeks down the road, they're probably going to be a lot better than they are. So that's more dangerous, but it's going to set up nice. Butler, New Milford.
Yeah, that's the that's the I know you've always been a fan of the way the NJIC does it.
I do. I love it.
And this is the way those divisions are playing out. Like how important every game is. Garfield secures their first victory of the first victory, correct? Yeah,
yes.
We were talking about the turf. Yes.
28-6
over Powell Park. We heard that there maybe was an injury in this game. I want to send positive thoughts to the student athlete from Powell Park for speedy recovery.
Yeah. Again, this is where we just read that they stopped the game early because there was an injury to a Powell Park player, pretty serious injury. So hopefully, thoughts and prayers with him. And I hope everything's there. But Coach Santa Coach and that Garfield, those kids in that program have been waiting a long, long time, waited a whole year to play on this turf. And they waited a couple weeks in now. And they get, this is a win where, you look and you say September 20th, 2024, 20, 30 years down the line, you're going to remember it's the first win on this new turf. And again, anyone who hasn't checked it out, you go see what the Garfield Field used to look like and what the facility looks like now. And but congratulations to Coach Santa, Coach and Garfield. And again, a young team.
Yep.
Hey, building. Last week they had played well versus Cresskill. And again, later on in the year, mount a couple victories, and that's what it's about. But congrats to Garfield.
Another with 2 games left. This one is Rutherford 42-14 over North Arlington.
I said do not count this team out.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're going to get a crack at they still get a crack at Glen Rock coming up at some point. You never know with the division how it can go. Obviously Waldwick beat Rutherford, Glen Rock beat Waldwick, but now I'm just saying if Rutherford can eventually beat Glen Rock, it's a 3-way tie. Who that gets in, so Rutherford is not out of it. And even if they're, not in the NJIC playoff picture, listen, I would not want to play a program like this come regular state playoff team, because again, young team, just like we said, every week, hey, they took what they got week 1 versus Waldwick. They learned, and now they just better.
Exactly.
And the coaching staff there, led by Coach Dunn, hey, he's going to work that out.
Yeah.
And a lot of confidence in that program.
And our last NJIC matchup to report on from tonight. Speaking of Glen Rock, they improved to 3-0 with a 40-14 road victory over Manchester.
And what was impressive about this, I think, Jen, too, was, we always talk about last week, they get Waldwick at home. They beat Waldwick 42-0 at home. Okay, you're going to have a letdown. You're going to go on the road. No letdown. No letdown. Manchester is very much improved. Okay, a little more experience this year, especially in the O-line. Hey, like a business trip for Glen Rock. Go there, take care of business, and hey, just win every week. We had them on this week with Coach, and that again, that's another program that every year, especially in the past, championship contenders year after year after year. So big win for Glen Rock. That's going to set up a Glen Rock Rutherford matchup. That's going to either, get Glen Rock in or, have a little chaos in that division with a 3-way,
It's going to be a big game.
If Waldwick keeps winning, Waldwick has a tough game tomorrow at Pompton Lakes.
Yeah. No, again, all kind of to be determined, then played out.
There's Robert Sauerwein, a good friend. Hey guys, was at the game, the Westwood Caldwell game. Was there any surprise? Westwood 35-13. Boom, go Cardinals.
Yeah.
Let's go over a couple
I was
games.
just gonna say where it's perfect segue. We're gonna get into some of the other games from our other pick segment that's non-NJIC, and one of them was Westwood 35-13, as Robert reported, over Caldwell. We also have Ridgewood edging Piscataway at home by a score of 14-13. Wayne Hills blanking Patterson Kennedy 35-0. DePaul over Seton Hall Prep 34-14. Northern Highlands puts a pounding on Pascack Valley by a score of 31-6. Passaic Valley beats West Milford by a score of 21-7. Ramapo falls to 0-3 at the hands of Old Tappan by a score of 27-21. West Essex with a big victory, 40-7 over Lakeland at home. And I didn't write the score down, but you mentioned it earlier. Ramsey falling to Pequannock.
I think it was 28-7,
Okay,
if I'm not
think,
mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds like familiar. That could have been it.
There's our good friend Keith Brugman, Friday nights with Jen and Kurt and All In on High School Sports. Yes, please.
Hello, Mr. Brugman. Thank you for watching. And I think that is it for our Friday night results.
Who would have thought on September 20th, 2024, Ramapo and Caldwell would be a combined 0-6?
I know. No, I know you couldn't. Playing tough
Listen, of course.
Yeah. So it's not
and
indicative
again,
of the teams
little
that
on
they
the
are,
younger side, but it
Right.
just shows how the competition now.
Well, again, we
what's
say
the
it all
word?
the time too. When you have that target on your back, and
Yeah.
you kinda combine that
Yeah.
with,
Yes.
and those teams, and we talk about this also, don't rebuild, right? They reload. But sometimes when you do have that, like when you graduate such a large group of kids, right, that they have the underclassmen who are coming up just have to grow into those new positions and those new roles.
And
really.
listen, Ramapo is going to be fine,
Right.
and Caldwell will be fine. I mean,
100%.
trust me, they will. But it's hey, it's a little of a culture shock. It's a little of we haven't been here before. But again, I think Coach Gattuso, Coach Romano over there, they'll get that stuff. They'll get those teams back on track. And again, you wouldn't want to play them. There's Kenny saying 3 different coaches for Ramapo, right? Kurt, 3 years. 2.
Well, I mean, if you count Coach Gibbs,
yes,
right?
then 3.
but in 4 years, because the
Yes.
other coach was there for 2.
2.
I
Yeah,
believe,
DeFazio
right?
was 2.
So
Keith's saying, how about that big score from West Essex?
yeah, yep.
Hey, we knew that coach. We know that they were going to get that program. I mean, listen, a tough opening loss, but
Right.
they're always, year in, year out. Anything stand out from you here, Jen?
I mean, a couple of things. I guess honestly, it's really the Ramsey loss, the Ramapo loss. I'm not going to say it's not the Caldwell loss, but I think Ramapo and Ramsey kind of are the ones that stick out to me most. I was expecting Ramsey to keep it a little closer with Pequannock home, but we spoke about this when we talked about St. Mary's. I think Pequannock is just showing how strong.
Well, I'm going to say mine is how good how good Pequannock looked.
Right.
To go on the road against a tough Ramsey team that has big time playoff aspirations. You go in there and you dominate that game, right? So, what does that say getting back to the NJIC? What does that say about St. Mary's? Because that game was 21-7, but St. Mary's had a lot of chances in that game.
Yep.
So, again, when you don't say a good loss and a bad loss, a loss is a loss. But when you look at that game,
take away
you look at that game. That was Robert Sauerwein saying the Ramsey loss was a surprise. Let's do this, Jen. Let's do this. Keith saying, let's go back to the NJIC for this. Give me who do you think's the best offense so far in the NJIC?
Oh, it's got to be St. Mary's. Well, you know what? It's as a collective whole, I think St. Mary's just has the most weapons. I mean, you've got a lot of really talented quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah,
you really
there are.
do.
They do. Yes.
And but if I had to pick like a whole offense, I'm going St. Mary's with the most amount of weapons, and
Yeah.
that they can,
I am too.
yeah. And then I'm putting Butler as a second, just because, as you mentioned before too, like, if you're going to take away our ground, we can throw it in the air. If you take that away, in a sort of, yeah. But I think, but again, the quarterback play, the New Milford quarterback, the our
and another team we
quarterback,
didn't mention though, Nick got me in the Glenrock offense. Have been putting up tons of points.
Absolutely.
240 spots, 2 in a row.
Mhm.
Okay. Then they play, they won at Pompton in bad weather. So, hey, Glenrock's going to say, make sure I'm on that board. And then you know what? You got Tim Tebow down in Beckton,
Yeah,
right? I mean, let's be
exactly.
honest.
Exactly.
Because when push comes to shove, and here comes, the Tebow offense with Jonathan Powsey.
Good job.
Jonathan Powsey. I mean, that's pretty damn hard to stop.
Yeah. No.
So
100%.
and there's another team sitting home this week on a bye that put up 50 points 2 weeks in a row, and that's Lyndhurst. New Milford saying, "Hey Jen, don't forget about us. We can put up points." So there's a lot of teams. There's Kip, there he is, Coach Kip, the U, run the sweep. There it is. All right, let's go defense, Jen.
I know. I'm just looking at some.
Can I throw one out there?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go Beckton.
Okay.
I'm going to go Beckton. To shut down, I'm not going to use the word shut down that great Lyndhurst offense, but kept it in bay in week 1. And hey, every week they come out with a plan. That they're going to they're going to coach it up. It's going to look maybe a little different. That whole staff does a great job. So I'm definitely going to throw Beckton in there defensively. I'm going to still throw Butler. All right. I will throw Butler in there. And again, what about Glenrock, Jen? What about Glenrock? Because they shut out Waldwick. I mean, I put up 14 this week.
There's been a lot of shutouts. There have. I'm trying to kind of see who's had the most shutout. I mean, Lyndhurst had back-to-back shutouts 2 weeks in a row. I'm looking at like our tackle leaders here, and like Park Ridge is consistently on the board. So
that's Anthony Rossi,
yep,
Park Ridge.
Yep. And the freshman we keep talking about at Park Ridge, Patrick Randolph, as well. So, but who's racking up the interceptions? And I don't want to overlook St. Mary's on defense too.
You know what? I just got this. What's great about this? We're getting text live. Coach Kip saying that they won Sparta with a big win, 39-7. Beelan saying you don't see the Facebook comments. LOL. I don't see anything from Beelan, so I'm not sure where he's posting.
Is it on your page? Are you only getting the all-in?
Right. I'm not sure where he's posting. Let me just check, because when Beelan makes a comment, it can be a good comment. So.
But somebody just talked about big Sparta win. Another big win for Montville as well, improves to 4-0 with a big win over Roxbury, who was was that state sectional finals or was it the semifinals when they played Mount Olive last year in Roxbury? But that's a nice win for Coach DeBonta and Montville to improve to 4-0.
Yes, Beelan, if you're listening, text me your comments, because I am not getting your comments. So I don't know why. We have to look into it. I want to know, and Beelan might be texting last week's show. Robert saying Rutherford is starting to look real strong right now. They have always found the way to win when they need it. Great comment. Yep. Kenny saying, Jen, agree or disagree with this? New Milford for me. I think they're flying under the radar compared to the other top NJIC teams.
Absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes, like as a coach, Kurt, don't you sometimes like to be that fly under the radar team? I always used to love to be the fly under the radar team. Like we don't have the target on our back.
Okay, so
are you listening?
I am listening.
I asked you as a coach, like, didn't you like to be that fly under the radar team?
Oh yeah.
You don't have the target on your back. You are improving. Like you're doing. You're improving. You could beat and you can play with anyone. Yeah. So I definitely agree with that, Kenny.
Kenny's also saying you say St. Mary's offense give me St. Mary's defense, Kurt. That's what wins championships. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm going to say this. St. Mary's offense is phenomenal, But to win the NJIC, Jen,
hmm
their defense might have to do it. I'm going to say that because you're not just going to you're going to have 4 good defenses in this tournament. And if St. Mary's gets in there, you know what I'm saying? It's just not going to be 50 points. It's not going to be like that. So it is going to be about defense.
Yeah.
And you know what? Hey, like Kenny said, give it to you now. That's good. Let me
But
read. I'm sorry.
Think that I do think that like I do think that like and even Butler, is a physical team. So I think that
Yep.
these teams that are at the tops of their, and you mentioned Beckton, I think these teams that are at the top of their divisions are what's the word I'm looking for?
Separating?
No, like they have both. They're balanced.
Yeah, okay.
Very balanced. I like Keith's question there. Best team without a win.
Ooh.
I'm not going to go without a win, but I'm going to go with Weehawken, who has 1 win. But I just feel like they are just. I know they had a tough loss tonight, and it probably not going to. People are like, "What are you saying?" But like, I think St. Mary's is just that good and can explode at any given moment. But I just feel like they, even though I have that 1 win, I think that they're like right there.
I'm going to take, again, I won't go no win, 0 wins, but I'll
Yeah.
take 1 win also.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the team who does not win Waldwick Pumpkin Lakes tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I think whatever team that is, Jen,
Mhm.
I don't know if I'll say every team in the league, but 90% of the league, that team, they could beat
To
them.
play with, yeah.
So they
Yep.
could play with
Yeah.
them. Mr. Beelan, he did make comments. So let me, I don't know why. Again, I got to see what page he's on. But best duo in the game. Salute to you two as always.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Veland.
I need to be a celebrity picker 1 week. LOL. Done.
Absolutely.
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Beelan,
can
you're
we
our
do it
guest
Tuesday?
picker. Tuesday night. I'll
About
send you the games.
About 9:40, probably. Right,
Yeah.
when we do that.
Yeah.
So,
We'll give
or
him
right for
the NJIC one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or whichever one he can do.
Yeah,
Just let
we
him,
could do
'cause
whatever.
he's-
Yeah,
he has a family at
yeah.
home. We
So if
wanna,
you can either do the
work
first
around
one
his
at 8,
schedule.
if you want to do just the NJIC or whatever, but you're in. And then he said, my brother-in-law's nephew, Connor Consiglio from Jefferson, sophomore quarterback, can ball out.
Oh, nice, very nice.
So this is what's all we're getting. Text in there, love it. And again, shout out to Coach Kip. They won 39-7 tonight. Jen, anything real quick surprise you? Either NJIC or everything else surprise you? A disappointment?
No, I do want to mention tomorrow is there are 3 more NJIC matchups tomorrow. We have 1-1 Waldwick at 1-1 Pompton Lakes, 1-1 Hasbrook Heights at 1-1. Oh, that's another one loss, 1 win
Heights.
team Heights. That, getting back to Keith's question there. 1-1 Hasbrook Heights at 1-1 Saddlebrook, and 1-1 Elmwood Park at 1-1 Lodi. The Mayor's Cup. We were hoping to cover it this week. We just couldn't get connected, to get all the background stuff. You and I had a busy week with work functions at night, both of us this week too. So hope to get something with those teams in the future.
And another, again, after the NJC tomorrow, game I'm interested in I'll be streaming it, is the Paramus Catholic St. Joe's Montvale, Jen, because this is the test of tests.
Yep.
Because listen, we know Paramus Catholic can score with anybody in the state. The question is can they stop teams on defense? And St. Joe's, especially a run game, and St. Joe's tomorrow is going to turn around and just hand that ball off and say, here we come. Can you stop us? And hey, we're going to see tomorrow if PC is truly. Now remember, PC, Jen, moves down to parochial B come playoff time. So just like DePaul, and we say play up,
Right.
don't overlook Paramus Catholic for that B.
Right. We got a couple more comments in there. You want to go?
A couple comments from Joe. How do you guys like Glen Rock versus the Dogs next week? What do you think? What do you think could win that game for either team?
Yeah. Well, what could win the?
What do you think? You know what? Honestly,
play.
quarterback. Listen, we're gonna see 2 of the best quarterbacks, the better quarterbacks in this league, right? At me from Glen Rock.
At Glen Rock.
Right. At me from Glen.
Yeah.
At me.
I'm saying the game is at Glen Rock.
Yep.
Next week,
And then
obviously
Rutherford with Miles Balchan again. kid who won it as a freshman came in, won the NJIC. So this team, you know,
So
that
you gotta
game
tune
next
in
week.
for our picks
Oh,
next
yeah,
week. We'll make
Tuesday
that
night.
definitely be on our pick
Well,
board,
that's
of
going to
course,
be
yeah.
probably game of the week.
Yeah.
That'll probably be
Yeah.
our game of the week. But that's going to be, I'm telling you, a great game. You know, Glen Rock, we keep saying in the beginning, under the radar team, and there's no more under the radar team, right? I mean, you get that win tomorrow, yeah, a tough game. It's going to be, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm thinking a different team. They got through Manchester, so now they're 3-0, right? They played their sloppy game and in the slop at Pompton. Most impressive team first week was Waldwick. Glen Rock got them at home. Hey, beat them 42-0. Now you get Rutherford. After Rutherford gets beat up, a win, another confidence, a win. Just again, that's another program where Glen Rock's kind of like, hey, we're sick of losing to you too. So that's going to be a great atmosphere, but it's going to be a great quarterback play, Jen.
Yeah.
Can we say this? What if we say, okay, I don't know if I want to say quarterbacks will just be even, but do we say the team that runs the ball better right now wins that game? Because we know the quarterbacks are going to come to play. We know the quarterbacks are going to make plays.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think that's going to be part of it. But I think, what I think is going to be a bigger part, kind of piggybacking off of that, is like who makes the adjustments better. Like if one team is successfully taking that away, so who can adjust better in and make the big plays, like we always say, when they present themselves. It's like, I feel like we say that all the time, but it's so true.
But that's going to be a great game.
It's so true. It is.
That's going to be a great game.
Robert's saying he might go to the St. Joe's game tomorrow. If you go, Robert, let us know. We'd love to get your insight on it. You can shoot me a text or email us and give us some info on that. If you do go, that's awesome. Yeah.
You want to ask Keith? You want to answer Keith before we go?
Yep.
I want your personal most memorable high school football game from when you were in high school.
Well, you played football.
Wow. You know what? It was just honestly, like, looking back now, I would say as a sophomore, hey, playing varsity and being a kickoff, we're playing Lodi, a team where it's like you hate them, they're across the street, they're rivals, and like I'm returning kickoffs with me and Wayne Corbett. So how friggin' cool is that?
That is cool.
Where,
I'm
a sophomore, he's a senior, and you're just like, and listen, nobody ever thought Wayne Corbett was going to be, he was a phenomenal athlete, but to be the Jets leading receiver and basically be, when people talk about Wes Welker and Edelman and all those slot receivers, and he's really the guy that started it. And looking back to be like on the field with him, like a sophomore, that was pretty cool.
Can I give mine from my playing instead of like a football standpoint? Since I didn't play football, but I did play field hockey. So we won the state championship my senior year and my junior year. We didn't lose a game between junior and senior year. We're ranked number 1 in the state of New Jersey. Group 3 champions my junior year. Group 2 we went down to my senior year. Again, undefeated. So like 0-1, I think we were, and also nationally ranked, so number 1 in the state of New Jersey, and ranked not sure if it was number 1, I can't remember, but nationally ranked as well. So it was just an awesome experience overall. But to culminate with a ring in senior year was a great memory.
Keith saying great stories, and Robert saying next week is the rivalry. Bergen Catholic, Don Bosco. You guys should do the game, and I'm telling you, if you guys please. Go YouTube, because Jen, you always laugh. But when you talk about the game, go on YouTube and just Google and just YouTube Coach Greg Toll speech, Bosco versus Bergen. Keith, you have to do it. Go on YouTube. And when Jen's watching it, Jen was just, remember watching it that night? You're like, oh my God. Like,
we saw it
like during a game.
Yeah. They showed it like a bunch of
like a montage
clips.
of it. But when I tell you, like, if you don't want to run through, Keith, if you don't want to run through that locker room, like not even knowing Jersey Bosco, like he brought it to where it was. And that's what they say, the game. It is the game, Bosco Bergen. But go YouTube that Coach Greg Toll's speech. Bosco Bergen, and Jen's laughing about it. Kenny's saying one more. Old Japan versus Indian Hills freshman football, where Kurt forgot to charge the video camera and Kurt had to write up Old Japan plays and post on notes. LOL. Kenny, phenomenal job. Phenomenal job that game. Phenomenal. But no, that's it. Hey, another week. We got some big games tomorrow, Jen. Looking forward to Tuesday's show. And again, we're going to know at the NJIC again, there'll be a bunch of matchups, but it's like Joe was saying, probably nothing's going to be bigger than that Glen Rock Rutherford.
Yeah, big one next week for sure.
You know, Glen Rock could wrap that up. And we still got Butler, New Milford coming down the line. And again, St. Mary's in the driver's seat, Beckton right now in the driver's seat. So
be sure to tune in on Tuesday, 8 o'clock. We'll start our regular All In on High School Sports, followed by our NJIC, where we'll update you on those conference divisional standings and give you some of the stat leaders